thought about it. Okay. The board is returning from an executive session where it received and reviewed sensitive legal information related to the district's operation. No deliberations occurred, and since the session was held in the informational purpose only, it did not involve deliberation, is consistent with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision in Smith versus Township of Richmond. Okay. Mr. Khan, how are you?
Yeah.
I apologize for the interruption. You're up.
My name is Ian Khan. I'm an 8th grader at Maple Avenue and our student council president. Here's what's happening at Maple Avenue. We just began our pride value responsibility. Responsibility means doing the things that are expected or required of you. All students will be participating in a lesson on responsibility in their social studies classes. Another Spirit Week is upon us. Tuesday is Shamrock Day, Wednesday is Wacky Wednesday, Thursday is Sports Day, and Friday is Zero Day. We are currently planning a rec night in April, including open gym and floor dance, as well as a Wooden Roses sale for Mother's Day, and the 8th grade farewell day for the last week of school. Thank you, and have a good night.
You said wooden roses?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little? I mean,
Haven't you ever seen where they like take wood carvings and make petals and they're colored? They're very pretty, they don't die.
No, but I'm interested. Okay. So if you bring one in next meeting, I think that would be, but, yeah, but thank you. Anybody else have any questions for him?
Give them the money to buy it.
How much are the roses?
They're like $4.
Oh.
Go buy 20 of them then, or whatever it is, and give them to somebody. Somebody less important. Pay it forward. All right? Okay? You pay forward. Give it to somebody. No, thank you. Something tells me you're not Fitzgerald, and something tells me that you're stepping in that place.
Yep.
Since I don't know who you are, then
This is Mama Diaz. I got to nail this one this time.
okay, all right. Ms. Diaz, you're up.
Nailed it.
So, I'm Bella Diaz, and I'm a senior at Littlestown High School, and I'm the student council treasurer filling in for Rowan today, because he's in Spain today, so.
That happens.
So, at the high school, at the high school mini-thon is preparing for the event April 4th, and they're working on food donation ideas. Our astronomy club learned why stars twinkle and excited for the trip to the Maryland Science Center this week. NHS is helping with the PTO bingo and will help with the food truck frenzy in April. And we're also hosting a blood drive, and we're having an induction for the club this Thursday. Field hockey is prepping for the upcoming season with spring tournaments. We just started a lacrosse club, which started their first practices with a very good turnout. NFBLA has 23 members going to their state leadership conference, and their goal is to represent Littlestown at the National Leadership Conference in California. And we have a candidate for state and national office, and that candidate's working very hard towards their goal. So that's all I have.
Okay, when's your food truck frenzy? Because that is a big thing.
It's April 5th.
April 5th, okay. Does anybody else have any questions from Ms. Diaz? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night. Okay. And we're up to the principal. Oh, what's that?
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We're gonna pause a second. We're going back to board acknowledgements, because I was just.
Yeah, we should.
Go ahead.
You wanted to go?
I just want to acknowledge that the pop-up, when you go on the website
Yes.
for the charter school, I thought that was terrific. I hope people go to the website to find that.
Absolutely go and find your legislator and contact them about the inequities in cyber funding. Cyber
I
school
mean, what
funding.
a great way to do a pop-up is an excellent idea.
Well, I give that credit to Mrs. Mummer. As Mrs. Mummer and I were
That was an
looking at it, she
excellent
made
idea.
that suggestion. We thought it was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you,
It's
Pat.
like right in your face. It's good. It was good.
Anybody else?
Yes. Youth basketball ended 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. Things run together now. anyway, the team that myself and Derek Fry coached, the 6th grade girls, we played for the championship. Unfortunately, we lost, but we did very well, performed very well with the 6th graders. And another team, the 4th graders, made it in, but they unfortunately lost early. But most kids had a great year, and well, the 6th and the 4th graders had a tremendous year. Our 6th graders, I believe they lost 5 games the whole season, so that was very nice.
That's great. That's great.
And I thank you for doing it. I'm sure you get paid a whole
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah. You buy what, an ice cream sandwich?
No, we did stop and get ice cream after the final game. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it's good. It's a good experience. If anybody wants to, if anybody coaches with little kids, you know how it is. It's very rewarding. Tony paid for that kind of stuff.
Anybody have any other board announcements?
Yes. The Read Across America night wasn't mentioned. It went very well. There was a lot of hard work put into it, as well as the day after, or 2 days later, the bingo was very successful. We had a lot of fun there. And it was nice to see such a big turnout for that. And kudos to everyone who put all the work into it.
The
Yeah,
bingo
it's just
always
that.
does well. Doesn't the bingo always do well?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there it is, Dave. Courtney used to be
I was gonna
elementary
say,
school
we did
years
bingo
ago.
too, yeah. It was successful.
Oh, fantastic.
Anything else?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, the field hockey girls, they played an indoor season with mostly all Littlestown girls, with the exception of 2 girls. And they were all Littlestown girls, and they had a fantastic first year. They usually came in 2nd place in their pool. None of the girls ever played hockey before, indoor hockey before, so it was fantastic. And then Littlestown girls played in a league in Frederick, Maryland, and mind you, most of our girls on that team were 8th graders, rising freshmen after this year. They'll be freshmen, and they came in 2nd place, which was basically a high school league. So we were very happy with those. Yeah, those girls put in a lot of time. They're really gonna do us proud in the future. We expect big things from those girls. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, if no one else has, I can share something.
Yes, please do.
So I just want to draw everyone's attention in an effort to try to make sure that we bring this back to students. I'd like to draw your attention to the display that's in the back of the boardroom. 16 Alloway Creek Elementary 5th graders participated in the LIU STEM Design Challenge. So what you see in the back of the boardroom displays how these students designed prototypes to address real-world infrastructure problems. Students spent 12 weeks applying the engineering design process, creating models, journals, and presentations focused on transportation safety and pollution solutions. Their dedication culminated in impressive presentations at the LIU where a whole bunch of different schools faced off, and each team was required to defend their designs and do a question and answer review from the judges who judged them. While we did not place, there are 4 teams that are represented, 4 students on each team, and the iPads in the back are interactive, so if you do want to take a look at it, you can grab the iPads. Mr. Laughlin, our STEM teacher at the elementary school, put this together so that we could showcase what our ACES students do with STEM in relationship to STEM.
That's great. That's awesome. Anything else? Okay. And I was really missing that. Okay. All right. Now you're up, Mr. Becker. Mr. Becker, I hope you heard. Dr. Becker, sorry. And I hope you are taking sad news that George Mason did not make the big game.
Yeah, I was watching, yeah.
I'm glad you were watching and I was watching, but my own daughter that goes there was taking a nap.
It was a good game. So good evening. First, a couple of things, and there's a lot of things happening, so if I miss some things here and there as far as what we're talking about, I know all together we try to give a lot of kudos to things when we get to them eventually. But just a couple of things that popped out that happened recently. I wanted to officially congratulate the cast and crew of The Marvelous Wonderettes. So that was our musical that took place I was there the same night as Dr. Mitzel. Thought it was an outstanding performance. Awesome show. Very fun for the audience to watch, and I think they did a great job. Another huge shout out goes to Matthew Hogue. He has been selected to the PMEA All-State Wind Ensemble on French Horn. So as stated by Mr. Bish in an email that went out, this is essentially, or not essentially, is the highest honor a student instrumentalist can receive in the state of Pennsylvania. So Matthew will be performing at the PMEA State Conference at the Kalahari Resort in the Poconos, and that will take place April 9th to 12th. So he'll be up there representing Littlestown as an all-state French horn player, which is phenomenal. As Mrs. Young talked about, I know we are entering here into the spring sports season, and I guess this week primarily is when most of the competitions are fully getting underway. Wanted to officially wish everyone good luck in their season and things go well for the spring sports. Shifting academically, as we near the season for state assessments, I have some what I consider wonderful news to share with you in that vein. So this past January, 20 biology students, and we have more that we'll be retesting here in the spring, but 20 biology students and 59 algebra students participated in winter Keystone exams. These are students that were preparing to take the exam for a second time after scoring below proficient the first time. So as you expect, this can be a difficult road both for the teachers and the students to overcome that they didn't succeed to the level they wanted to the first time. I have been at multiple districts here in the last few years as an administrator, and I will say that while the teachers in all those places have worked extraordinarily hard to get kids to where they want and improve, it was my experience in these places that we would be able to pull 4 or 5 of those kids over into proficiency levels the second time that they took it. It's just most typically what I saw as far as numbers at both the previous schools I was at. So last week we received the results for those exams, and the teachers in our building should be very proud and excited in my opinion. So of the 59 students that tested, 21 algebra students met the proficiency, meaning 36% of that group that typically struggles made the jump into a level of proficiency, one of which was even advanced level on the exam. 75% of the students that took the exam improved on both their mods from the first time they took it. So again, you're seeing some tremendous work from those teachers and those students. Of the biology 20 students, 6 were able to test proficient. So again, that's an increase of 30%, again, showing a lot of improvement throughout, regardless if they made it to proficiency or not. So I cannot thank those teachers enough, and the preparation that they're doing and the dedication to the students is crystal clear to me. I'll be honest in that I've seen how we've done preparation for retesting a lot of different ways in my schools, and I came here and looked at what Dr. Berryman and the crew had set up. And I have my questions as to, I wonder if that works like this and works like that. I even asked those questions, and I will be changing nothing. Because what I've seen as far as what's happening there and what's taking place, I just want to continue to give them more support in the things that they're doing. So let's not forget that the students are the ones that have to be focused and work hard toward that improvement, and the fact that they are able to do so and the teachers lead them there and they follow and go along willingly, they should be also feeling a lot of pride in what they've done as students to take that next step. So having inherited these teachers and students, I must say that I am really impressed and blessed to be here because, like I've said a couple times, just don't screw it up, Nate, right? Because there's a lot of good things going on, and I'm highly impressed by what's happening by those numbers, and I got to see it for the first time while I'm here, and it made me very proud of what they're doing. That's what I have for tonight.
Dr. Becker, what I hear you saying is these 79 students on top of, they were not proficient in April, May of last year, correct?
Correct.
And then December of this year, where they had only the summer, which I'm sure they all studied over the summer. So they came back in between, more or less, let's just say September 1st till December. They were able to do their regular studies and study for this and increase by this percent.
Yep.
That's commendable.
People with a last name like Showbaker did a real nice job in getting these kids ready for the.
I mean, that's awesome because, as I say, I'm sure that over the summer they really were excited to study some more, but that shows commitment to the students and the commitment to the teachers.
Oh, absolutely. And I can say it is difficult sometimes when they don't, I guess, especially when they're younger. I think any of us, when we do something and we struggle to any degree and we don't reach a level we would want to, it's not always easy to get there. academically, some kids struggle with taking that leap after not getting it the first time. I've seen that just systemically where I've been. And I was told that it wasn't going to look like that, and it came through exactly like it was explained to me, so I was happy to see that.
And what do we have in store for the other 14 and 38 students?
We have some ways that we can definitely help them to meet different pathways that are there in order for them to meet expectations, both locally and for the state.
Do they get a third shot at the third bite of the apple, or?
I'm sorry?
Do they get a third bite of the apple, or?
Some do, depending on the situation. Some of the algebra students will be able to give it one more shot in May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to them. I hope Ms. Shoemaker can work some more miracles.
Among many. She's one of several, but she definitely is. We have a showmaker here.
Does anybody have any questions, more questions for Dr. Becker? Hearing none. Alderman Stevens. Thank you.
Good evening. So today we were able to have an in-service day together as a faculty and staff, and it was the first day this year where we didn't have kind of our day planned out for us. We didn't have an iReady workshop or someone from the state coming to teach us about things. And while those are wonderful, today was a day that we could just focus on things that we needed to focus on in the building. And it's an incredible opportunity. It's also a little bit stressful from where I sit because it's important to take really good use of that time and make it meaningful for everybody involved. Happy to report that we only had one staff absence today, so everybody was there and engaged. I just want to give you a little bit an overview of how we spent our day because I was extremely proud of the engagement from the staff. So in the morning, the first 3 hours in the morning, we met by departments. Mr. Powell from the high school, who some of you met, I think, in the curriculum meeting where he presented about steel standards with Dr. Berryman. He came down and put on his teacher leader hat, and he worked with the entire Maple Avenue Science Department on those steel standards. Now, what they've been doing with him every single month is kind of figuring out how are we going to teach these things and what concepts are going to go in which grade level, and that's sort of like nuts and bolts of it. But today he put on a presentation from his learning about how we should instruct these standards. So it's sort of a different approach. It's not something totally revolutionary, but moving away from, just the facts and the figures and memorizing the periodic table and things that you can just Google, but focusing on studying a phenomenon and investigating and making sense of the data, critiquing what they understand and uncovering their misconceptions and being able to then apply and transfer that learning and that process to other things. So it's really not rote, it's not linear, it's kind of a cyclical nature, but that was the basis of the discussion today in science. It was excellent, and kudos to Mr. Powell. The social studies, arts, and electives departments submitted to me their final, in air quotes, drafts of their proficiency scales. So I'll be giving them some feedback before I pass them on to Dr. Berryman. But that covers the social studies department and the first round of elective courses. So teachers who teach, electives will be going back to work on the other courses that they have in their catalog. But that's a significant number of courses that I'll be pleased to send over very soon. The math department focused on those open-ended responses. Some of our math teachers went to the IU a few weeks ago and sat in a session with Kevin Morrow, who you may have heard Dr. Berryman speak about before from PDE, about how those questions are written, the sorts of responses that they're looking for students, how they're scored, the in-depth nature that a student has to put in their response to get full credit, helping us to understand it a little bit better. So we understand that when we can break something apart and understand each of its pieces, we can put it back together a bit stronger. English also talked about their open-ended responses. They are benchmarking those on a regular basis. And our learning support teachers met with Ms. Lass and they talked about the IEP writing process, classroom and assessment accommodations, assistive technology, excuse me, and the way that we support our students in the co-teaching model and also during the support period. All of that before lunch. Then after lunch, we had a couple of different tasks. Teachers were given time to complete their PSSA training. There's an online component that all staff members have each year. Just some classroom tasks that anybody who's been in a classroom knows that sometimes you just need time to work on the work. So just a couple hours in their classroom to work on planning and preparation. And at the end of the day, Ms. Glass and I met with our PAC, which is our Principals Advisory Cabinet that we've put together. The purpose of this cabinet is to help us to recognize things that may be in our blind spots as leaders, and to help us celebrate things that are going well. So some of the things that came out of this meeting today will help us refine some processes at Maple Avenue. Teachers brought up some new ideas for different ways that we could collaborate with each other, ways to incentivize students, and make sure that we're maintaining a positive morale at Maple Avenue. So it was a busy day, and we were all very glad to have the time together.
Anybody have any questions from the board?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kaufman?
Good evening.
Phil?
Dave Cockenauer, assistant principal at Lake Creek. I don't get to speak too often in front of you, so thank you for allowing me to share a few awesome things that are happening now at Lake Creek for the last few weeks. First, we'll start with Read Across America. We celebrated from March 3rd to the 7th. The week was a busy one where kiddos were able to Read Across America Week is celebrated in coordination with Dr. Seuss' birthday, which is March 2nd, which is Sunday. We take the week that follows and do all the things that we love, and we'll celebrate reading. So things that we did, ACE's reading committee set up a schedule that included themed dress days for the week, which included things like Cozy Up with a Book, which included wearing PJs to school, Hats On for Reading, which is a celebration of Cat in a Hat, of course, where the kiddos wore hats of their liking. They were able to read with book buddies. That is a coordination between grade levels and kiddos coming together and reading together. We were able to invite guest readers in to read to classes. And there was a PTO event, which I know Ms. Brennan already shared, at night, in the evening, I think it was a Thursday evening, where the kiddos were able to, with their parents, come around, tour the building, see the decorations. They were also able to vote on decorated doors and preview the plays that were put on by our 5th graders. 2 mini plays, the culmination of the week included the 2 mini plays that 31 5th graders were put on, and they practiced those plays throughout the week. The months that preceded it to prepare for it. And then when they were not watching those plays, they were able to play or participate in the play day activities that was discussed in the past. Our next highlight is the Pilot Award Committee that works to work through the school store. They provide opportunities for students to meet positive behavior expectations. Each month, students have the opportunity to spend their Volt bucks on the school store. The store has grown over the past 2 months to include opportunities with popcorn. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well all of a sudden.
Once more?
Have a seat.